guys, welcome to our channel. My name is Mariam and my channel name is called Thinking Out Loud. Today I'm going to be talking to you about applying for jobs. So I am a junior doctor currently in the UK and I've just completed job applications. I'm going to share with you 10 tips to make the best application possible for you and what my success story was. So, number one, you need to start early. And when I say start early, that's either in medical school, foundation year 1, or as early as possible in foundation year 2. So I'm currently a foundation year 2 doctor, and I left things a little bit late, but I think starting early will definitely give you an edge over things. So starting early, number one, can be in medical school, get involved in as many things as possible. So with that, get involved in, you could be a rep for your medical school, you could be a rep, a sports rep, you could be a rep in anything at all. Number two, you could sort of apply for any competitions, try and get something published, try and go to different conferences, try and sort of think about the different things that you're interested in. Now it's easier said than done because a lot of people know what they want to do. I mean, a lot of people don't know what they want to do, but what's positive is if you can rule out what you don't want to do and then make sure you get experience in the things that you're sort of considering in. The other thing you can do is you can get involved in teaching other medical students. So if you're in second year, you can teach first years. If you're in third year, you can teach fourth years. Number two, make sure that you write your CV early. So I use this book. It is called Preparing the Perfect Medical CV by Helen Douglas, etc. et al. And it was quite a good book. I had a CV from 5th year medical school because we were forced to do it, but it wasn't very good. But actually this gives you perfect headings in terms of what you need to include in your CV. Now I'll write in the description bar below the headings that I use for my CV, and not all of them are going to be filled, so if you've got nothing in those headings, then don't put the heading in. Equally, sort of, if you write your CV early, you can sort of see where the gaps are inside your CV, and then you can sort of try and fill those up before applications. One thing to note is applications are in December. They open up in December, well they did for me, and sort of they open and shut in December in foundation year 2. So then you sort of need to get everything sorted before that because you don't want to be sort of running around. Another thing that I need to mention about CVs is that you're going to have references. So at the end of your CV you have to include some references. References are either going to be clinical, educational, or any sort of senior that you've worked with that are happy to sort of provide a statement for you about what you're like as a person. So what you need to do is think about who you want as your reference early, tell them early, because you can't just put them as a reference, because if you get a job, that sort of, they're going to ask your reference for that, and some people get annoyed, well some doctors that I know get annoyed the fact that they've not been pre-warned that somebody's put them down as a reference. So sort of think about wisely who you want your references to be. Point number 4. So applications are made on Oriel. I'm sure you've either not heard of it or you've sort of maybe heard people talking about Oriel. So Oriel is an online database in which loads of jobs are basically put on there, and for core training, so CT1 or ST1, which is after foundation year 2, that's what you move on to. They advertise all the jobs if you're going into a training program. So to quickly talk about the training programs, there's 2 types of training programs. Number 1 is you've got the run-through training program, and specialties that I know have got a run-through training program are radiology, and actually I don't know, just the one that I know definitely is radiology. So what that means is that you make an application after F2 or after sort of you finish your foundation years, whether you've taken a year out or not, and then you don't have to apply for any other jobs. So you go from ST1 all the way up to ST6, and then you can apply to consultant level. The other type is core and specialty training model. So what that means is you basically do stuff like surgery, anaesthetics, core medical training, ACCS, all of those things you basically do 2 or 3 years, which are your core training years, and then you have to make a new job application for registrar level. So for registrar level, you would be ST3 up to ST7. So in actual fact, you're going to take 2 to 3 years for your core training, and then ST3 to ST7. So that is 5 further years up until before you can apply for specialty training. So what to remember with that is that you have to make 2 job applications when you're doing that. Okay, so on the Oriel system, you're either going to apply for a run-through training program or you're going to apply for a core training program. So it's quite straightforward. You register when you first start, just before you do the job application, and once you register, you sort of fill in the application form, which is quite straightforward. You just put in your personal details, you put in sort of your background, so which medical school you went to, any pre-qualifications you've got. So everyone's going to have an MBCHB or some sort of bachelor in medicine and surgery. And then some people will have extra qualifications, either if you've done postgraduate medicine, so you're going to have your degree beforehand, or other sort of degrees that you might have gained during medical school. Number 5 is what you need to think about is your portfolio. So this is my portfolio. It's sort of, I only made it quite late, but basically your portfolio consists of you need to check which specialty you're applying for, because sometimes they give you headings which they want you to order your portfolio. And the important thing about this is that you need to make sure it's organised. So a lot of people said to me when I was making my application that, oh, make sure your portfolio has got sticky notes, make sure that everything's quite easy and quick to find. So basically, in short, what they mean is make sure you got dividers in. So these are really cheap. I think they were just from a high street. And basically get dividers, but also other than the dividers, I also got these sort of sticky notes. So if I show you one, this one is undergraduate training, and at the top I put undergraduate training. So basically, when I put this inside my portfolio, it's got sort of the little tab as well, so then I can see at the top of the portfolio. I sort of based mine on the specialty. The specialty sort of gave us the headings that they wanted us to order our portfolio in, so that was quite straightforward. But another easy thing to do if you don't have that is to base it on your CV. So the order that your CV is in, you can do the same and order it sort of inside your portfolio, which will sort of save you a lot of time. Number 6, what you need to think about is try and get a lot of things presented. So as part of your foundation, your competencies, you have to do presentations. So that could be, you could present to medical students, and that could be as in your undergraduate years, but also in foundation years. You could also present at Grand Round, at any special lunchtime meetings, whether you're in surgery or medicine, but also you could sort of do regional presentations. So you could go and present within your deanery at any regional conferences, but equally you could present at any national conferences, which would be brilliant. So the way that they give you points when you apply for jobs is your presentations or your publications count as, was it local, regional, national or international, and your points go up depending on which one. So point number 7 is you need to think about doing an audit. So as part of your foundation year competencies, you have to do an audit. So what an audit entails is that you need to do the full audit cycle. So that includes sort of picking the audit, comparing it to standards, then you set your sort of standards, you audit the data, you review it, see how you can improve, then you re-audit. So the key word of that is re-audit. So you have to do at least one per year in Foundation Year 1 and Foundation Year 2. And with that, you could be lucky, you could then go and present that either at a grand round, so that's locally, or you can do it regionally, or you can also do it nationally. Also, you could see if you could get it published. So if you're comparing it to some Royal College standards, or if you're comparing it to NICE standards, etc., you could try and get that sort of published in one of the college bulletins, or in also sort of a national paper, or even the British Medical Journal. So think about doing audit early, but also try and utilise that audit as much as you can to sort of fill in the rest of your CV, so publications, presentations, etc. Case number 8 is that you need to think about doing extra stuff. So I mentioned this before, but you want to be different from everyone else. So if you think about it, everyone else is going to have the similar headings, same headings. They're going to do all the foundation competencies that everyone else has got. So how are you going to be different? What's going to make you different? So think about doing extra stuff. So when I was in Foundation Year 1, I applied to be Doctors Mess President. So I became Doctors Mess President sort of just because I wanted to do something other than working, but also because of my CV, to be honest with you. So it sort of helped in my organisational skills, sort of interacting with other people, getting things done, and also communicating out to other people. So you can easily get that done. Other things you can get involved in is actually maybe you want to interview medical students. So you could contact your local university and see if you can get involved in the interview process, whether that's sort of personal statement marking or whether that's helping in the actual interviews. Equally, you could help with examinations, so you could help with standard setting. I contacted my local university in the deanery that I'm at, and they needed help with sort of standard setting, which was really useful. I got a certificate out of it. Make sure everything that you do, you get either a certificate or some written information saying that you've done that as evidence for your portfolio. Other thing you could do is you could be a Foundation Year rep. So Foundation Year 1, Foundation Year 2, you could be either local reps for the hospital, or you can also be regional rep. That's regional rep either for the whole deanery, in which you sort of meet with other regional reps and discuss matters, or you could try and be a national rep as well. Point number 9 is think about interview and course books. So, amazing book that I have to recommend to everyone is, I'm sure you all know it, is medical interviews book. Looks like this. There might be a new edition, but you need to get this. Basically, it's got loads of questions inside it, and it gives you a model answer about how to answer them. So you need to basically practice loads of questions from this book. I also went to a interview course because I was really nervous and because I left it late. But actually, you don't actually need to. They are expensive, and all the information sort of it's if you lack confidence. So actually, you could get all the information if you were wise and if you started early. For surgery, I got a book, but it was an online PDF, which is called Core Surgical Interview Guide. I'll write it down below. That was quite useful. It just had loads of sort of questions and scenarios that they might ask you, and it sort of told me the interview structure. So, point number 10 is just know your interview structure. If you know the structure, you can score really well because you know the structure, you know what they're marking on. I applied for anaesthetics and surgery. For anaesthetics, they had 3 stations: portfolio station, clinical scenario station, and then a presentation station. So for each of those, they actually had mark schemes that were on the Royal College website. So if you know your interview sort of structure, you can structure your learning and how your interview technique around that. So portfolio station, make sure you got your portfolio organised, which we've talked about. Presentation station is just practicing within the time limit, know your time limit, and also sort of have a structure to your presentation. And then clinical scenario station, that's basically practicing those scenarios, make sure you structure it well, and also being able to give a management plan. For surgery, it was similar, but they also had a management station instead of presentation station, of which it was more sort of ethical, sort of SJT type questions, which as well you can practice if you get a book or if you just speak to other colleagues. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Sort of like, share, subscribe, and see you again.